How we doing today, guys? It's Sam and Alex here at Anglers. We got a lot of stuff going on today. Today we're doing our fishing report.
Yep.
But before that, we got to talk about, we have some sales coming up.
Hot sales.
Hot sales. So starting off on Thursday, tomorrow, we're going to begin our Black Friday sales, which is going to have all sorts of stuff. 10% off of the select dial combos like you see here. This is an awesome little jigging setup. Rigged up with 15-pound braid, Fuego 25,000 on a 7-foot medium extra fast. Typically the action people are looking for jigging, which is hot right now. Also, lures, they're all going to be 10% off. These guys here, and then Small Business Saturday, we're going to have a special deal on all the local companies. Those are going to be 20% off, so that's an even bigger deal. That's going to include your Bustums, your GI jigs, all those lures that we fish around here a lot. Getting straight into it. What's going on with the rockfish?
So we got a whole bunch of stuff going on again. Everything, it's pretty much going to be, for your hot fishing, going to be down south, down towards the mouth of the Chesapeake, Tucson River, and down towards the mouth of the Potomac. So that's going to be the areas, if you're willing to travel for some of those awesome fishing days where fish are pretty much stacked up in the ledges, that's the places you want to go to. Up here, it's been kind of hit or miss. Of course, there's fish throughout the area up here. You're not going to get as many fish, but you are going to get some of those fat fall fish in the area. So a couple areas you want to check out right now, like I mentioned, down towards the mouth of the Chesapeake for your awesome fishing. Fish are pretty much, for what I heard, stacked on the ledges there. Also down towards 72A, 72B on that side of the channel, that's been pretty hot, and down towards the mouth of the Potomac, down towards Point Lookout. I mean, you can jig and troll and show us some of the stuff we can use here, Sam.
So we have some of your big baits again. As always, we're talking about big baits when we're pushing a fall/winter time. The bait they're eating is pretty fat, so we're trying to use some bigger baits. These are 7, 8-inch, 9-inch profiles. These are the Fat Boys by Bustum, which have really taken off in the past couple of years, especially in the fall time. It's just a really big presentation. It looks just like a peanut bunker coming through the water. Jig head wise, we're seeing a lot of fish in deeper water, 30, 35 feet. So we're trying to get down there more. Even some in 40 feet, some suspended in channels. So fishing your heavier jigs, ounce, ounce and a half, stuff like that, is we're going to see a lot more as we push into later into the year here. Besides that, you can still troll for them. Plenty of people are going to be trolling. If you are going to be trolling, bigger tandems now. We're starting to do a couple 9-inch baits here and there, stuff like that. But the biggest and most important thing when you're going to be trolling is adding weight to these. You need to get these things down. If you're trolling the first 10, 15 feet of the water column, probably not going to do too well. Make sure adding a good amount of inline weight to them.
Yeah.
So, also touching on a couple spots up here, there are some fish still in the mouth of Eastern Bay, and the mouth of all your rivers up here, and they're not as big as the ones we're seeing down south, but there's still some good quantities of fish up here in that 20 to 26-inch range.
There's some of those migratory fish coming down from up north, Ocean City, so pretty much a wave of them come through. And remember, you have to stay within that 3-mile range, imaginary line out there. So ocean fishing for rockfish is pretty much in the kick right now. Surf fishing, or if you're going out there and scouting some of those areas from the Ocean City Inlet up to Fenwick Island, and see if there's any bunker schools out there. But there is some fish out there right now. Also, some of those bigger fish are kind of mixing in towards the southern Maryland area, down towards Point Lookout. Not too many of them, but there is a couple of ocean fish moving in the bay. So definitely your options are wide open right now to either hit the bay or go out to the ocean.
Besides rockfish, there's always a bunch of other fish going on that can keep us busy during the winter. And I think one of the most fun ways to get out there is go to the mill ponds that we have on the eastern shore. They're full of all sorts of different species. So Alex, go over a few different things you're going to catch in these ponds, but also what are you going to be fishing?
So this couple, pretty much my favorite season, because I'm a big freshwater guy. But pickerel, a lot of these mill ponds are super shallow, no deeper than 5-6 foot water. I like to use those Bass Assassin paddle tails. They're 3 3/4, almost 4-inch in length. And I like to focus on those natural colors because the water's a lot more cleaner, super clear. You're going to be able to catch pickerel, bass, crappie, yellow perch, and some of them actually. And surprisingly, there is a couple of those ponds that might have snakeheads on them now. Not saying that they will bite with this cold weather, but they're in there. And of course, all your panfish, bluegill, all those kind of things. So personally, I like to chase the pickerel up in all those mill ponds, and we're talking about Tuckahoe, White Mills, Smithfield Lake. All those areas are pretty good and pretty productive this time of the year. It doesn't take much to catch fish there, honestly. A couple paddle tails and even some live minnows, and you're gonna get into all kinds of fish on those mill ponds.
The versatility of a paddle tail. I mean, there's not really many fish you can't catch with that. You're gonna be able to catch crappie, largemouth, pickerel, yellow perch, all sorts of things. But going to the minnows too, it's going to be the same sort of deal. Now there's a bunch of ways you can fish a minnow, whether you want to fish it underneath a bobber, or you're going to want to cast it. Tipping them with these VMC hot skirts is a great profile in the water. The bigger sizes, maybe we're going to be doing more pickerel bass with that. But those smaller sizes, if you can tie them in a tandem rig, you can either do a tandem rig with those, which is phenomenal. But you don't have to use minnows. You can always tip them with some of this other stuff. Small plastics are phenomenal to go on there. The simple 1-inch bustums. They look awesome in the water. And the cool thing about it is they have such a little tail, and it's so small that the littlest of action really makes that bait move. Which is great, especially as it gets colder. That's more or less what you're going to want to be targeting. Things you can move slow, but are still going to have some action to it. Those busting baits are phenomenal.
So the report for this weekend, this past weekend actually, was kind of hit or miss in the Severn Magothy for pickerel. The tides were super low, so that kind of plays out to be some of that. Personally had some good days up in the out in the mill ponds. They don't go anywhere, so they're they're stuck in there.
That's great.
So that's the cool thing about that. But yeah, now we're getting into the yellow perch time of the year.
For sure.
And I've heard some decent reports out of the Eastern Shore again. You know, Marshy Hope up in Federalsburg. There's apparently been a decent amount of yellow perch being caught there. Hillsborough, Tuckahoe Creek there. That's one of those classic ones. A few, but pretty small ones up there. And you guys up north in the Susquehanna Flats are starting to see some of those fish actually not schooled up, but move throughout those deeper areas in the lower Susquehanna around Perryville and all that. So it's the time of the year to get your yellow perch stuff ready, because it's pretty much happening. We always wait for that spring run, and no one really fishes a fall, but they're pretty much pre-schooling or pre-spawning for that early spring.
That's some great spots to target up over our way. However, a place we don't talk about too much is the Pocomoke. That's going to be down south on the Eastern Shore. There's all sorts of stuff you can do in there. Yellow perch are doing pretty well down there.
That's also one of my favorite spots.
It's another one of those places where you can just catch anything you're after, really.
Right. And remember, guys, there's all kinds of great fishing spots throughout the area. Some of them are just an hour drive from here. So if you're willing to travel and try different things, definitely great areas to go to.
All right.
Yeah, and then besides that, some of your white perch stuff, deep water again. Tell me where we got on there. Deep
water, we're going to be doing some jig and spoons on the bottom if you're looking for the bigger ones. I know a gentleman came in yesterday who caught a 14-incher jigging out in some deeper water. So that was a really big fish. So they're going to be out there this time of the year. The perch are pretty big. They're fat. They're healthy. They sit on the bottom. And once again, once you get over top of those fish, I mean, they just sit there all day. They're trying to get warm. They're staying in warm areas where they can also feed. And most of those areas are going to be somewhere in that 15 to 35 foot range is what we're seeing now. They're going to go deeper as we push later.
What areas would you go to right now?
Mouths of all your rivers are going to hold hard bottom. So I know the Chester, the mouth of the Chester can be phenomenal. There's some really good hard bottom structures out there. Pushing out in front of Thomas over by the mouth of the South and Severn Rivers. There's all sorts of good hard bottom over there in that 15 to 25 foot range. Good fish out there. You can sit on those guys jigging spoons anywhere from a 3/4 ounce to a 1 ounce with a small hook is phenomenal. You can even rig a teaser shad above that, which is another good option for you.
So that's pretty much all we got this week, guys. Remember, get out there and fish before your Thanksgiving dinner. If not, come by and hang out with us and shop around for some of the sale items and just get out there and fish. So we'll catch you next week, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.